What's up, guys? It's another Sunday, so we will continue on with the CD collection. We will finish up the Fs today and move into the G section. Not sure which actual video number this is. It'll be in the title. I've kind of lost count, but just going to get right into it. I'm going to start off with some black metal out of Ireland. This is Fuel Na Ciencoil. Yeah, it's right there on the back. Newell Na Ciencoil, I believe, with Hunger is the name of the album. I can't pronounce the album name. Like I said, this is Irish black metal. I believe I got this through the Metalhead box, if I remember correctly. Pretty solid release here. I did enjoy this quite a bit. Haven't listened to it in a little bit, but I do remember enjoying this. At some point, I will have to pull it back off the shelf and give it a spin. Next up, we have some metallic hardcore. This is Full Blown Chaos with Wake the Demons. Got this quite some time ago. I have not listened to this in probably a few years. I got this from Stillborn Records. I ordered this when I ordered some other things back several years ago. Things that I've probably already sold at this point. This one is just kind of hung on the shelf. I don't remember just a ton about Full Blown Chaos, to be honest. I just know it's metallic hardcore. There are some metalcore influences going on in the music as well. I also have their full length entitled Within the Grasp of Titans. This one has some water damage. The case is broke. The little teeth that hold the little prongs, as you can see, it comes apart. Usually I will change those out, but being that this one is water damaged, I didn't really see the point in putting it in a new case. It does have a bonus disc in this one as well, if I can even get it. It was so busted, so damaged when I got it in the mail that sometimes the case even sticks. Sometimes it has the little sampler, Stillborn Records sampler disc on that as well. Not something that I'm just going to pull off the shelf on any given day and listen to. I may at some point, kind of have the urge to go back and listen to some of this metallic hardcore type stuff. But there's other bands within metallic hardcore that I would find myself reaching for first. So at the current time, the Full Blown Chaos is just kind of a placeholder on the shelf. I apologize for the trucks going by, but going to push on through. Next up, we have some kind of hard rock / new metal. This is Full Devil Jacket with a wax box. This is definitely a throwback to my high school years. This band was pretty local to me. I don't know how many of you remember Full Devil Jacket, but they were from right close to where I'm from. I saw them open for Typo Negative and Cold Chamber back in, I believe it was the year 2000, so it was 22 years ago. I really enjoyed this little EP, the Waxbox EP. The full length that came out after this was atrocious. It was absolutely awful. When they released it, there were no unedited versions, so everything was edited and censored, and it was pretty awful. But the Waxbox EP, I loved. I really did enjoy that one. And it's always a throwback for me. A lot of nostalgia tied up in that little EP for me. So I do not have the full length self-titled from them. They had an album come out. This came out in 2015. I went ahead and picked it up. It was okay. This is Full Devil Jacket with Valley of Bones. Few lineup changes, as you can imagine. Between 15 years or so between releases. One of the, I believe the vocalist that was on the Waxbox, man, dude went off his rocker a little bit. If I'm thinking that it's the same guy, he had a heroin overdose, I think, while they were on tour for the full length or something along those lines, and he found religion and made a religious band. But I think he's off. I swear that one day I was at a Kroger shopping center, and the old lead singer for this band was outside yelling at people, preaching at people, and yelled at my son and I, saying that Jesus did not eat shrimp or shellfish. And I just always thought that was very odd, and that's something that's just kind of stuck with me. But I digress. Moving on, we have some doom metal out of Norway. This album is probably the epitome of doom. This is Funeral with From These Wounds. I love this album. It's probably in my top 5 or at least top 10 albums ever. That just favorite albums. It's just pure, unadulterated doom. It can put you in a lowly place. But I love it. I love this album. I can't really put to words how much I enjoy this particular release. There's a song on here called Pendulum, and that's one of the most depressing songs I believe I've ever heard in my life. So I love that album there from Funeral. Other albums in their discography I do love. I only have one other on a physical format, and it's a shame because this is one that I was very let down with. This is the newest Funeral release entitled Praesentialis in Aeternium. Yeah, I butchered that. Doesn't matter. I'm still salty about the CD release on this album. There's 6 tracks on this CD. The album was 10 tracks. Every other format, it's kind of like you got punished for being a CD collector. The digital and the LP formats all had the full 10 tracks. They tried to play it off that it was just bonus tracks, all this stuff, but they just flat out left 4 tracks off of the CD copy. I know it would have played long. They probably would have had to make a double disc. Maybe the label themselves were just too cheap. Season of Mist maybe didn't want to put the money out to do a double disc. I don't know, but I'm still salty about this. When I paid for this, I mean, and it wasn't cheap when I pre-ordered it and bought it. I would have liked to have the full album. They tried to come back and just give you the 4 tracks as digital tracks to make it right, but it felt like I was punished for being a CD collector when I purchased this album, and it left a really bad taste in my mouth. I think that's another reason why I haven't backtracked and picked up any more Funeral releases, because the band allowed that to happen. I don't know. I'm just still salty about that. I don't know if I will be supporting them moving forward. Season of Mist, unfortunately, is kind of a necessary evil when purchasing. Otherwise, I'm really petty with stuff like that. So if I can find the releases somewhere else, I tend to buy them somewhere else now. Next up, we have some neoclassical music. This is Funeral Dusk with O Ruber Sanguinis. As I said, neoclassical. It's kind of dark, classical sounding music. I really love this. I purchased this from Redstream several years ago. And at the time that I purchased this, it just hit just right. I was in kind of a dark mind space anyway, and this just fit in perfectly with what I needed. So killer release there. If you're into classical music, you should check out Funeral Dusk. I think you would like that. Let me grab a drink as my throat is getting a little dry. As we grab another Season of Mist album. As I said, Season of Mist is just kind of a necessary evil. We have Funeral Mist with Devilry. This is the I believe this reissue came out 2015 maybe. I don't really remember. This is the reissue that has the Havoc demo attached to it. Good stuff here from Funeral Mist. Funeral Mist is one of those bands that I keep telling myself that I'm going to pick up more of their material, and I just never have gotten around to doing it for some reason. I believe actually this one may have come to me in a grab bag at some point, and I really like it. It had this one. I don't know if this is a founding member of the band. I don't think he was in some of the other albums that this band has put out, but it has Mortis of Marduk on this album. I really don't think that he's in some of the other albums that Funeral Mist has put out. But this is just one of those bands that I want to check out more from, and for one reason or another, I just have not done so. Next up, we have some death thrash out of Chicago. This is Funeral Nation with 30 something. It's in Spanish. Yeah, it's a compilation of the band's kind of 30 years. It's got stuff from 1989 all the way through 2019. As you can see there, it's also got it signed by the band. Pretty good little slab of death thrash. I do enjoy this. It's the only thing from Funeral Nation that I happen to own, though. They also sent a bunch of buttons and pins and stuff when I ordered that from the band, which I thought was pretty cool. Next up, we have the Funeral Pyre with The Nature of Betrayal. Blackened death metal. I do love me some blackened death metal, and I dig this album. This was released on Prosthetic Records. I'm not sure if this band is even still together or not, but I really dig this one. And there's one other full length of theirs that I like as well, and I have it on physical format, and that is Vultures at Dawn. This was their last release. This came out in 2010, so they haven't put anything out since 2010, 2011. Unfortunately, it feels like Prosthetic Records kind of has that effect on bands. I don't know. I've heard, it just seems there's a pattern that kind of develops there when bands get with prosthetic. So I don't know. Next up, I don't know if I've shown this album or this EP on this channel before. If I have not, shame on me, because this is some phenomenal black metal out of Mexico. This is Funeral Woods with Ashes of the New Age. I believe this EP, this demo came out in 2020. I'm wanting to say somewhere around in there, and it's just chaotic black metal. I absolutely love this. I think I may have shown this like in a 7 Deadly Spins at one point, but I honestly can't remember. If I didn't, that's a shame, because this is a fantastic EP. If you're into black metal and you have not heard Funeral Woods, definitely go check out this EP right now. Just stop the video. I give you permission to just skip the rest of my video and go check this out. Next up, speaking of chaotic, this isn't so much chaotic. This is just some really dark. It's kind of like black noise at times. It's ambient black metal. This album, I mean, when I first listened to this, I was put off. I was like, man, I don't know if I can follow this band. And I actually have picked up something else from them after this, and I found it kind of growing on me. And it's just, but you have to be in a certain headspace to be able to listen to this. This is Funeral Moon with Evil Night of Heresy. This came out, I think, in 2010. It's been out for a little while. I could be completely wrong on that. On that time frame on that, but it's just, I mean, you kind of get a feel for what you're getting into there from just the artwork. The artwork is very fitting for this release, but it's just dark, noisy, fuzzy, uncomfortable, blackened goodness. And it will definitely take you to a very dark place very quickly if you let it. It's one of those you just kind of got to be careful for. You just got to be in a certain headspace to listen to that. And me saying, I don't know if this is a band that I can get into, and then having listened to it more, it kind of grew on me. And then I've got this one. Let the truck go by. This is Funeral Moon with Rape of Holiness. And yeah, just the album title there is pretty dark stuff. And it's more of that ambient, noisy, fuzzy, scary, occult type goodness. So yeah, that's going to be a very niche. You got an audience there to enjoy that, but I do like it for what it is. Next up, this is one that came in a VCLT from Marty Worm. He threw some stuff in that he was like, he said he had a box of stuff. I've told this story before, and he wasn't sure what to do with it, and there was some stuff in there. He was like, who can I just give this random stuff to that would probably enjoy it? And it ended up on my doorstep, and there was stuff in here that I really did love. This is Furia with Un Lac de Larmes et de Sang. Yeah, I probably butchered that. It's in French. This is a French power metal mixed with melodic death metal. It's kind of like take the cheesiest parts of power metal and fuse them with the cheesiest parts of melodic death metal, and this is what you get, and I absolutely love it. I mean, this could not have found a better home. It's very cheesy at times, but that's okay. I mean, everybody loves a little cheese. The French especially, wine and cheese parties. So let's have some cheese with my metal, and I do enjoy that. That's all for the F section, so I had a little space on this one, maybe a little bit longer, because I had some spacers on the shelf, and it jumped right into the G's, so we'll just skip over and go right into the G section. First up, this is a melodic death metal band out of Kentucky. I believe they were out of Kentucky, possibly Alabama, but I believe they were out of Kentucky. This is Gabeling with Blood Now Flows. This was originally self-released. This was recorded and intended to be self-released by the band in 2003. They had some internal strife or whatever. The band broke up. The vocalist for this band passed away in 2008, as you can see right there. It has like a little in memoriam of him there. And as a memorial, it's every loud truck and vehicle. I live in this little podunk town, and I guess the louder your vehicle is like a symbol of your status here. So that's why we have to deal with that going by the window. But as I said, this is kind of melodic death metal. This was released as a memorial after his passing. The band, I guess, finally put their differences aside and released this. Originally recorded in 2003. I think it came out around 2008-ish, maybe 2009. Pretty decent little slab, especially with it being a DIY recording. It is good for what it is. The drums can be a little off-putting at times in it, but I do enjoy that as a whole. Next up, a band that I've loved ever since this album that I'm going to show. They are gaining huge notoriety. You guys probably have all heard of them now, and I still don't know how to pronounce their name. Gayria with Unsettling Whispers. This was on my album of the year list when this album came out, and I've followed this band ever since. This was released through Transcending Obscurity Records, so you have this over-the-top booklet and digipack and everything from Transcending Obscurity. They never cheap out on the packaging. Sometimes it's to the detriment of the release. They go so far over the top with the packaging and extra stuff with it, but they hit this one just right. And this was probably, until the most recent release that just came out, Mirage. I have that, but I won't be showing it in this because I have, as I said before, I have my new releases in a different section of the shelf. It kind of went back to Unsettling Whispers in some aspects, and this has been my favorite release from them until possibly this year, but we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But I absolutely love that album. I have their second release as well, entitled Limbo. This one, it wasn't as good as Unsettling Whispers for me personally. A lot of people enjoyed this one more. I think this one gained on more fandom than Unsettling Whispers did, but they've been churning out the material. This was also released on Season of Mist. And, I mean, it's good, but I like Unsettling Whispers a bit more, but the new album has absolutely floored me this year. Next up, we have some black metal. This is Gak Tungar with Gisturg. I'm not sure where this band is out of, to be honest. I don't remember just a ton about this particular release. I think I got this on one of those Hell's Headbanger sales, like the Black Friday sales or something, and I really just don't, to be completely honest. It got listened to. It's on the shelf and it's open, so it's been listened to, but I honestly I don't remember a ton about it, unfortunately. Next up, we have some crusty, grindy sludge metal. This is Galerna with The Abyss. This was released through Horror, Pain, Gore, Death Productions. I got this in one of those 30 CD Horror, Pain, Gore, Death grab bags, and I was not expecting this to sound anything like what it did. I was expecting, I don't know exactly what I was expecting from that artwork, and I mean, now that, looking back, I can see the sludginess. I should have possibly picked up on some sludgy stuff there. I believe this band is out of Spain. Could be wrong on that as well. I'm wrong a lot these days, but this is some pretty good stuff. I did like it more after the initial shock value kind of wore off, and I was more in a mindset of what I was listening to. It kind of grew on me, and I really did start to enjoy this one. So just some good sludgy goodness there from Horror, Pain, Gore, Death. Next up, one that I severely overpaid for. This is Gallowbraid with the Ashen Eidolon demo EP. Black metal, atmospheric black metal. This is an original press that I got tired. They kept on teasing at a reissue that has since come out and the remaster or whatever. And I kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and it was just never coming. And this originally came out in 2010. I bought it a few years ago, and it was impossible to find copies of this when I purchased this. It was downright impossible. Now that the reissue has come out, people are coming out of the woodwork to even sell their original presses for less than $20. But I'm not going to tell you how much I paid for it, because I sorely, it was worth it at the time, just for the simple fact that I wanted it so bad in my collection. But it's probably in the top 5 most I've ever spent on a CD releases. So there we have it. If I'd have waited maybe a year or so, I could have got the reissue at a fraction of the price. But, you know, what can you do? Next up, we've got an album that was sent to me by Rick from the Dreadful Minutes. This is a band out of Philadelphia. This is Gallows Hymn with The Age of Decadence. This is kind of some progressive folk metal. I say progressive. There are some definite death metal influences going on, even some black metal vibes and gothy vibes going on in this as well. It's very interesting stuff. It's very hard to nail this down to a particular genre or subgenre, but there are some definite folky type stuff going on in this. Pretty interesting stuff. I have dug this quite a bit, and I appreciate Rick sending me that one. I think he knew that I would enjoy some of the stuff going on in that when he sent it to me. Next up, we have some German power metal. We have Gamma Ray with No World Order. This one's pretty good. I do like, it's kind of cheesy. Gamma Ray as a whole can be kind of cheesy, but so, as I was saying about that power metal / death metal band from France, sometimes cheesy is good, and German power metal can be cheesy, especially coming from Gamma Ray, but I dig it. Very formulaic stuff. At this point, you know what you're getting from a Gamma Ray album. A lot of their albums sound very similar just because they know what their audience likes, and they put out what the people want to hear. And then I have their 2009 or 2010, somewhere along in there, release entitled To The Metal. Speaking of cheesy, this one has the epitome of power metal cheese to me. They have or I guess traditional heavy metal. It has the power metal influence there. In track number 4 of the title track from the album, To The Metal, it's just hail to metal, and I mean it's the cheesiest song ever. I should not love it as much as I do, but that track, there's just something about it that gets me every time. It still has that strip. I hate these things at the top. As I'm doing these videos, I'm slowly taking those off the disc. I don't know why I don't take those off when I originally open it, but they used to not bother me as much as they do now. I don't know if it's just something with old age. Everything annoys me these days. I'm just turning into a grumpy old man, and those little strips drive me absolutely insane. Next up, another very forgettable black metal release. This is Gansmord with Monolithic in Darkness. I say forgettable, but honestly, this one, I can remember it sounding like bedroom black metal. It sounds like somebody made this on their computer in their mom's basement, and that, I mean, I believe this band is out of Arizona, but I'm sure it's a one-person project just from the sound of it, but it sounds like what you would expect U.S. bedroom black metal to sound like. I mean, it was pretty awful. And then last but not least, we have Gardens of Gehenna with Mechanism Masochism. This is the last release, I believe, from Gardens of Gehenna. Kind of industrial death doom. I'm not the hugest industrial person, but it kind of works. This band has kind of worked it into their sound to a point where it just it sounds very appealing. This is the only release from them that I own, but pretty good stuff here from, I believe this is another one that I got through Metalhead Box. I believe it's probably something I never would have picked up on my own, And that's one of the good things about mystery boxes and that type deal is that you find stuff like this that you enjoy that's a little bit out of your wheelhouse that you probably wouldn't have checked out otherwise. So, pretty decent album there from Gardens of Gehenna. That's all for this one. I will I'll try my best to have another one of these up next weekend and just keep them going on a weekly basis as we were doing before. I hope you guys have a good week. Stay classy, stay metal, and I will see you soon.